college education paid for and set their families up for future success. We created an environment where serious athletes can now come compete fearlessly. We've achieved this through our variety of elite programs. Our 6-month off-season program, where first-year starters or seasoned vets can all come develop. Our 5-on-5 program, which is all about our line. Our youth tackle program, which is the first and only youth tackle team in the state of Washington to ever win a major national championship. Our 7-on-7 program, which is ranked top 10 in the country every year. Our high school 11-on-11 club tackle program, which creates unique and much-needed opportunities for our kids. Our college prep program, which allows our graduates to come back from college and prepare for the upcoming season. Our track and field program, which creates an opportunity for our young air boys and air girls to continue to get faster. When you're a national program, you receive national respect, which is why when you look at recruiting boards and top player lists from around the country, you'll always find players from air on those lists. Which is why college coaches from some of the most prestigious schools around the country come into our facility to recruit our players. The Penn State, Alabama, Oregon, Stanford, Florida State, the list goes on. Our players are being recruited, offered, and committing to some of the top schools in the nation. The experience our players and families receive is second to none. We offer a competitive brand of sports at Air. We are the ball. And with that comes great responsibility. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Man, every pic I saw of you, you looked sad.
Yesterday I was somewhat befuddled. You know what I mean? I'm like, how is it that this team doesn't realize that it's the playoffs, doesn't realize that there is, you're going to die if that's the end. If you don't do it here, and they just couldn't figure it out. They could not figure it out.
There was a tomorrow. It was very weird. Like that was the most flat gameplay.
And I think it goes along with everything else that they've done in the last 6-7 weeks. I thought that there would be a script change here. Like I said, today, as I didn't really sleep last night because I didn't have the chance, because literally I had to get on a plane. I had to leave for the airport at 5:00 this morning. I talked to a couple of other Eagles fans, and I started to get angry.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I'm not going to make any excuses. They sucked. Straight
up.
And there was no heart.
Yeah.
And listen, that's the one thing I got. Like, you can try your asses off. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. And there's days that you're in quicksand. You know about this. You've got the talent. You know the things to do, but just things are not going to go right.
Sure.
But you got to look like you're trying. You got to look like you care.
Yeah.
When I care more than the people on the field, or it looks like I care more than the people on the field, I've got a problem with that.
Yeah.
I have a serious problem with that. And that's how I felt. And ultimately it bothers me. That bothers me. Out of all the things, I have been on the Sirianni train. I said, okay, this is our coach. He brought us to the playoffs for the last 3 years. Barring a colossal disappointment in this game, I feel like he should be back. Well, guess what? I got that colossal disappointment and meltdown. You could see it on the sidelines. You could see it in the play. And the play that defined it for me, the play that really defined it for me was the Gainwell loss of 10 yards.
Yeah.
So many things went wrong in that. There was a lane there. He could have went in that lane. He would have gotten 4 or 5 yards in that. He decided to try to turn it back. And in the process of that, ran past Jalen Hurts, who I understand he's a quarterback. You don't really want your quarterback blocking anybody, but you maybe want him in the way a little bit.
Right? Like, get a rub in there. Like, you don't have to full on engage, but, get in the way.
Get in the way. And he didn't get in the way. And immediately, I thought of, not going for the fumble in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
The same thought process went in my head. And then the next play to get the safety. Yeah. The refs flags were in their pocket all game long. Game long. Can't blame the refs. No ref blame here. No ref blame.
Yeah.
They
were letting them play.
They did not call anything.
Yeah.
Except offsides. And I thought about that too.
Yep. There he is. I mean, I don't know how much you can laugh though, because your boys kind of did the same thing, but
you guys still got knocked out first.
No, Bo.
You still got knocked out first. I don't care.
Bo, let's not go there. That's not why I'm laughing.
You know what makes the Eagles fans and the Cowboys fans different?
Right here.
Nothing. Not a damn thing right now.
No.
We are both feeling the exact same freaking way. We had a lot more talent on this team than we should have done.
Yeah.
And I at 100%.
Right here.
There's no reason that we should have lost that game.
Here. See that vein? See that vein right there? That's where I got him. I'm right up in there. See, here's the problem. You guys are who we thought you were. Honestly, unlike the Cowboys, we did put up a little bit of a facade. We were kicking butt going into the playoffs, and then of course we shit the bed. You guys just were flat out crap for the last 2 months.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So you did,
I didn't. I guess you could say that I was looking through with rose-colored glasses, knowing that they have the talent to be able to do this. They had the talent to be, but the one thing that you can't see, that you need to start to see, is heart.
Yeah.
It's heart. And they didn't have it. They didn't have the heart at all. And that's what bothers the living hell out of me. That's what bothers the living hell.
From the replacements. Need heart.
I felt bad too.
I love that movie. I love that movie too.
I saw several times that ESPN they showed pictures of Pags, and at first he looked really excited at the beginning, and then
they got me on that one touchdown, and the guy came running right over to me, and I'm cheering. Okay, we're only, it's 16-9.
It's a game still.
Yeah, let's just get this extra point, and now we're down by 6. It's 2 field goals away. Perfect. That's the way it should be.
And I feel bad, man, because I hate to see Kelsey go out that way, man. I know he's going to retire now.
For real. Yeah.
And I was hoping better for him.
I tell you what, I didn't think he would retire until I watched him walk off the field. I actually paid attention to what he was doing. He went back over to the bench and sat down for a minute. And then he walked off the field. You could tell that he was way emotional. And so it's not only that. I'll tell you, we probably saw the last play of Kelsey. We may have seen the last play of Brandon Graham, the last play of Fletcher Cox, who probably showed the most heart out there. He was the one probably the most fired up, which is surprising because Fletcher Cox is one of those guys who, you don't always think that he's got that type of fire in him. But he was fired up out there. He was pushing and shoving after the play. He wanted to try to get something going out there. So to see that come from him was actually, I was actually excited about that. Like I saw that just before the end of the first half. I'm like, okay, they're showing something here. They're going to be able to make something happen. All we got to do is come out and we get the ball back at the end of the first or the end of the beginning of the second half and just go down there and score. You know what I mean? That's all we need to do. Field goal even helps here. The field goal even helps.
I was telling Bo that first must have been like first 5-6 minutes of the game when they came out had 10-0 right up off the rip. I told Bo, I said, these guys are coming out guns a-blazing. I don't know if Philly's going to be ready for this, and they just never could. Philly could not get in sync on all 3 sides of the ball.
But you know what? And them scoring first, getting the field goal, and then coming down and scoring the touchdown. I actually still wasn't scared about that. You know what I mean?
No,
They
it was still
scored
very
the
much a
points quick. They scored the points quick. That's part of you got the home field advantage. There was not as many Eagles fans as there were the last time we were out there. You know
Right.
what I mean? So, but that's like okay, you got to let the dust settle a little bit and then just start to go to work. Start running the ball. At the end of the first quarter, they showed the rushing stats, and it's hey, they're close. They're gaining close to 5 yards a run. 5 yards a run. Run the ball. Run the ball.
Hey, I told you it wasn't even so much the offense that came out guns a blazing. Look, those first two Eagle possessions, they got you 3 and out, kicking the ball. And I told him, I said, the defense, even the defense is on point.
The second one was a 3 and out. We got a first down on that first drive.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, they were very short-lived drives. I mean, and
Correct.
the defense
It
was really,
wasn't. They both ended in punts, so it didn't matter. You know what I mean? I understand what you're saying. But I mean, I thought that okay, and then they get the field goal. I'm like, okay, we're on the board now. Time to just get started. You just needed to get some points, show a little bit of life. It's 13-3 now. You know what I mean? And this isn't the craziest thing in the world.
man, there
I
are
know.
people.
They always. I listen. The national media is always going to use the most handsome guy they can find out there to make pictures of. And listen, I wear my heart on my sleeve out there. I put it all out there on the field. I bring it every play of every game. Every day. So yes, when you see me like this and I look miserable, that's because I am miserable because I'm watching that dreck that was out on the field. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Like I said,
Hold
when
on.
I show the heart, when I show that heart, and they don't show that heart, I've got a problem with that. And you better believe, because afterwards it took me an hour to leave that stadium, taking all the pictures with the Tampa fans, congratulating them, because really, all those fans showed up. They were excited. I don't mind the fact that I'm nationally known now as not only the voice of the season is so the season is over. Now the look of so the season is over. You know what I mean? Because that's what it should be. That's what heart looks like. Frustration and anger. That's what it is. That's what heart is all about.
It's such a beautiful version of Pags than it was yesterday. I can't tell you how this warms me up. I was literally sending him pictures of Big Bang Theory with you just blown into a trash bag after that second quarter, just trying to hyperventilate on that.
Yeah, right.
Hey, but question,
and it's funny because I definitely I had to turn the messages off. You guys were going way too much. It was like bing, bing, bing. I'm like, all right, guys, I can't listen to the bigs anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then the first thing I see is whatever statement that it was right before I said that. Yeah, shut it, bandwagon. You know what I mean?
Hey, I sent a nice, beautiful rest in peace card to you. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. Hey, but seriously,
and the thing is that I kind of welcome that because you know what? Not me. I don't personally deserve it, but this team deserves it. This team deserves all of the smoke that I'm getting, and I'm taking it for the team. I am taking it for the team. I will take it, and I accept it because truth of the matter is that I ain't got nothing to go back on. I got nothing. That their play proves that there was nothing that I could say. I just got to take the smoke. I just do it. And I'm okay with taking it. I thank God I got thick skin, big shoulders, big hands. Don't worry, I'll be back.
Yep. But you know what, though? But that's what makes us real fans. And that's what I was trying to tell you. Nobody can call us bandwagon, but you can't have this much passion and go through this much heartache and then not be a real fan. But on a serious note, what do obviously we know what this kind of thinks, hopefully spelling the end for McCarthy for us. But I don't think it really should spell the end for Sirianni. But there are people saying out there that maybe Patricia.
Oh, Patricia's getting fired. Patricia's getting fired. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Patricia was like the interim defensive coordinator. Anyways,
he was getting fired no matter what.
Yeah, that's not gonna. I tell you, I was on the Nick Sirianni train and thought that he deserved another chance. I'm not sure. It's like for the first time now, I'm unsure.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a tough decision to make here for both, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, because they got to make a real strong decision. And I don't know that Belichick is the answer, although everybody now, the media is trying to force Belichick on us. And
Well,
I
it'd
don't
be
know if
that and
I'm good for that.
Harbaugh and everybody else. What do you think about Harbaugh? I mean, now that if you guys do open up, that would be a good spot for Harbaugh to go to. You guys got all the pieces. You might have to fill a couple of offensive lineman spots, but what do you think about him?
I I don't know. I don't know. It would be such a stretch for me to change the way my inner feeling about him initially. Once you put on the Eagle green, you're on the team, and there's been people that have been on this team I have not liked. You know what I mean? I'll be honest, as good of a running back Shady McCoy was, I couldn't stand him.
Yeah.
I thought that he was an asshole. Now, the player on the field has nothing to do with how I feel about anybody personally. You know what I mean? And that's okay. I can root for you on the field and tell you to go F yourself off of it. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with that because I can discern. And I'm sure who cares if he's a fan of mine or not? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter because our lives don't intertwine otherwise.
Yeah.
When you're on the field, do your job, and I'll love you for that. I don't mean I got to like you off of it. So I and that's how I feel about this team in general. You know what I mean?
Well,
Anybody on this team could be in that same boat.
That's true in any facet of life. I mean, there's plenty of coworkers that you have that you're not going to go hang out with after the fact, but we can effectively work together.
I remember the collapse. I remember the collapse, going 7-2, and then losing the next 7 games. After that, I remember that. I remember being a fan during that time.
Yeah,
and being like, just damn, what happened? What happened? And this feels eerily similar. Eerily similar. And I don't want to spread false rumors,
Sure.
but there has been some interesting rumors that have been flying around. And if there is any bit of credence to the rumors, and I'm not going to speak them. I'm not going to speak them because it's too much. It's too much to just have go out there. But
I gotcha.
People very close enough to the team, it won't stay secret for very long if it has any truth. And if that comes out of some of the strong infidelity is how I'm going to put this. There's a very strong infidelity that may have occurred within the team ranks, starting with some of the biggest names on this team. That would absolutely fracture the locker room in a way that would have caused this to occur.
Hey, I didn't want to say it, but Bo, I've been telling you there's something going on in that locker room.
No. I mean, it's a conversation
on
we've had. Absolutely.
This team doesn't play as well as it played at the start of the season, only for the last couple of months to just go into a nosedive. That just doesn't make sense. Literally, it doesn't make sense.
And I tell you, if the rumor does find out to be true, and I don't know that it'll ever come out. Sure. I mean, it's so damning. It's so damning for a lot of reasons. That it's a mess. That it's a mess. It would absolutely be a serious problem. You're going to see the last play. You have seen the last play of a number of players. Because
wow, now that's a hell of a build-up right there.
Right?
That almost feels. Yeah. Hey, that almost feels like some Deshaun Watson stuff. I mean, dang.
Different but same. Same.
All right.
Like I said, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to go beyond it. I'm not going to tell you what I think that rumor, what rumor has made it into my ears.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's when I heard it though. It filled too many holes on why.
Makes some of it make sense. Yeah, no, I mean,
too much sense. Yeah. Way too much sense. And it doesn't involve our quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, on the outside portion, it does, but it does not involve our quarterback. So so for whoever thought it's between Hurts and Brown, Hurts is
Oh
not
yeah.
involved. Hurts is not involved in this. However, he is involved because he is the quarterback of the team.
Sure.
Mm.
Yeah. Being present makes you involved to some degree, anyway.
Correct.
Yeah. No,
Ah,
I
that's
mean,
some juicy stuff. Now you gotta
no,
tell it.
curious. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Let's play 51 clues. Hold on a minute now.
51. I like it. I like it. No, I do agree with Paul here. You know, this is probably how it goes. Nick gets one more year, but they clear out a lot of other stuff. I could see that. I think Sirianni did enough to have a bad year, even in a blowout. I think he did enough to have a bad year. The rest of the coaching staff probably doesn't survive it.
The hard part about this, making this decision, is the names that are out there and how you want to go about it. Like,
Sure.
you try to start to create conversation with, just feelers. Do you throw feelers out there with the potential of it being found out?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a conversation with Bill Belichick? I mean, I don't think he's the answer, but if you
No,
you threw a call to him just to be like, "Hey, Bill, you saw yesterday. What do you think?" You know what I mean? Just give me your honest opinion on things. You give a call to Harbaugh. I mean, his brother was a coach here before he became a coach of the Ravens.
sure.
So it's not like that we are able, like it's not like we're far away from that family. So
Yep.
it's possible. Like, you have the conversation, you just give him a call and be like, "Hey, heard you might be interested in coming back to the NFL. Want to know if you saw that last playoff game yesterday?" You know what I mean? Just to have the conversation.
Yeah.
Again, something innocuous enough that if it was to get out, that it's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And we just, he flew through Philadelphia and something. And we asked him what he thought about the game, what his opinion was. You know what I mean? Because it's hard, because if that gets out, now you fractured the relationship with Nick Sirianni, and then you can't
yeah.
repair that.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I don't know that Belichick's really the right answer there anyway, because anywhere he goes is a short-term fix, whatever it is, right? He's not your guy that's going to rebuild a franchise. The dude's 72 years old. Like, I figure he's around until he gets that, winningest coach, and then he hangs it up. So I don't think he goes.
Let me tell you, there would be nothing more satisfying to Bill than to win one more Super Bowl.
No, of course.
Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think he needs to have the most wins ever than
Sure.
he does to have that other Super Bowl.
He just needs
The
to level up with
Tomless Super Bowl. That's the one thing I feel like that he would want more than anything else, and that he could retire second on the list. It wouldn't matter.
Well, to give his legacy in the sort of legitimacy to, say, well, I didn't need Tom to win one. Yeah, that would fill that piece of the puzzle for him.
No, for sure.
But I can't say that he's going to be the one that I can't say that. I watched somebody on Instagram talking about it. It looked like it was some type of ESPN guy saying, "Hey, if the Eagles lose to the Buccaneers, and in the process of that you get Bill Belichick, it's the best loss they ever could have."
Well, I'll tell you what, if
That's a weird.
Well, if you are going to look for a coach, though, hey, this pool of people out there is pretty deep. I mean, should be something with the experience and the philosophy you're looking for, right? I mean, Harbaugh, Belichick, good God, just don't go after Dan Quinn. I heard there's 4 people trying to get, there are 4 teams trying to get Dan Quinn. They can have him.
Yeah, and Joe, I'll be honest with you. This team's got enough talent to be a Super Bowl contender if they were put in the right positions. And the hardest part about this is that, again, that rumor, like I said, the rumor would take the precedent above all of this. If the rumor is true, there's no amount of everybody could be Tom Brady, or the equivalent, and
Yeah.
not win that game, and not win because of the depth of that. So it's if that fracture is as deep as that is, is it the coach's fault that that's the case? No, and that's got to get put into consideration. But only that team knows. I'll find out. I will definitely find out. Because if I find out that it's not a rumor and that there's truth, I don't care. I'd be the one that reports it.
Yeah. Right here on Coast to Coast. Look at us plugging our show. All right.
Yeah, because I'm not afraid. Listen, the truth will set you free. There is way too much happening with this team right now to see the demise of like this. Hey, listen, we got beat by the 49ers. And I don't know that the 49ers, I don't know that it happened during the week of the 49ers. It may have happened after the week of the 49ers, or it could have happened at any point. You know what I mean? Who knows when it occurred? Could have been happening all season long. We don't even know. You know what I mean? So it's really tough. It's really tough.
Well,
but
I wouldn't think it was that. I think I think you would be able to see, and like if it's as big of a thing as it is, and it would have changed, the locker room as much as you're alluding to.
Think about things that would have that type of potential of changing. There's only a few that come into mind.
No, for sure. But, when you think about it that way, you look back at this season, you can pretty much figure out what week that probably was.
I would think that if this was something that they knew at the beginning of the season, you would have seen a gradual fade down. The fact that they just, going like this and then straight down, that just tells you that they had to come towards the end of the season.
Yeah, like something happened. I mean, not that they were playing great football per se before that, right? Like they were backing into wins. Like they weren't exactly, ripping the cover off. But man, there was a discernible difference between those first 11 games and those last 6.
Yep. And that's there's only so much you can talk about that.
Straight. Yeah, that's true. I knew something seemed weird to me when you dropped those 2 straight sub 500 losses. I was like, nah, this is not the Eagles. Something's going on over there.
Yeah,
it just didn't make sense.
That, but like, listen, teams go in bad runs. The 49ers, as great as they are, had a 3-game losing streak. You know what I mean? Baltimore, same situation. They lost a couple of games in a row. It's like there's ebbs and flows that happen within a season, and it wouldn't be as surprising if they turned it back around again, if they just showed any of the type of heart. There wasn't any heart at the end. At the end, there wasn't any heart. But their heart was taken out, and it wasn't taken out by a team.
Right.
It wasn't another team that took their heart.
Yeah.
They took their own heart. This was an inside job.
Yeah.
Well, what makes me think
Tampa did come out and stomp on it afterwards. Like, you guys may have ripped your own heart out, but they took full advantage of it.
I just felt like when Brown took all that Eagle stuff off of his Instagram, I know we say he did it for other reasons, but I still think maybe that had even been an early indicator, like what Pags is saying. I mean, it just kind of all fits now.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you said, it does fill some holes because there were a lot of questions about this team, especially the way that they've been falling apart.
Yeah, well, it's at this point now, it's we're going to see the fallout. There's going to be, I mean, like I said, I feel like you've seen the last play ever of Jason Kelce. You've likely seen the last play of Brandon Graham. I don't think you've seen the last play of Fletcher Cox. That game specifically told me that he's still got some left in the tank and he still wants to play. So I think that he'll be back.
Wait a minute. Jason Kelsey's still got plenty left in the tank.
Yeah, I tell you, watching him walk off the
drive.
field.
He doesn't have the drive for it anymore.
Watching him walk off the field yesterday, it was like I would have thought that after this he might have come back for one extra season for this. No, he went to the bench. He sat down on the bench for a little bit, had his head in his hands. He then walked off the field alone by himself.
Yep.
He got a hug by a few people. And you could kind of see that that was the last time he's walking off the field as a Philadelphia Eagle active player. That's just how it looked to me.
That is the vibe you got from him, because you could see him, just crying on the field, right?
Right.
Like you could tell that was different than, hey, I just lost a playoff game. I mean, that can invoke some of that as well. But what you were seeing out of him, you were just like, oh no, this is it. Like this is that game.
Yeah. And BG, that would be great if BG wants to come back. Like I said, I feel like he's still got some left in the tank too. It wouldn't surprise me. He's very endeared to this fan base and to this team. So, I feel like he actually was trying to fire people up too. I think that it was just too much to overcome. There was a video that I saw that I didn't see during the game of Dallas Goedert kind of yelling at Jalen Hurts, and
Yes.
Jalen Hurts just turning and looking just like, yeah, whatever. And just
he looked absolutely indifferent on the sideline, which is not a great way to be in a game at all. Because so I saw that, and he's barking at him, right? He's just like, hey, obviously he wasn't mic'd up, so we don't know what he said. And all you saw out of Hurts was just like,
right,
yeah.
You're not.
But it was the end of that exchange that bothered me the most.
Sure.
When Dallas was like, just forget it.
Yep.
I ain't got nothing more to say.
Yep.
That I didn't see that during the game, but when I watched that after the game, it's like, yeah, again, that even that exchange is what I think is is within this rumor that's swirling around the team. And like I said, all of that being done, everybody could say Nick needs to go. Nick Sirianni needs to go. The coordinators stunk. But I think that if this did occur, because like I said, I feel like they went back to a preseason playbook. After the 49ers game, they went back to a preseason playbook. If it happened that week, it would have shook the team so much that it would require them to go back to that preseason playbook.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, Sirianni lost control of his team, lost control of his locker room at some point. I think the only reason that they keep him is if he can get the locker room back under fold,
Well, we'll see. Like I said, there's going to be a
change.
lot of personnel changes.
Yeah, going to be a lot of change. Because you got guys retiring, you got contracts coming up, you got coordinators going to be out the door. Like, it's going to be a very different team next year.
Damn right it will be. Want some popcorn for the couch next season there, Bags?
No, I want you to make me a steak.
All right.
And an extra sandwich.
Yeah. I'll do that for you.
Not a meatloaf.
Mom, tell me that meatloaf. I'll even throw a couple of beers in there for you. And I won't even give you the Paps. I'll give you the good stuff. We'll go out there and get that Modelo's, man.
Oh.
I figured he was going to get you like a Schlitz Ice or something.
No, man.
Pags, just
hey.
beer.
You don't get Philly sports guy Schlitz. You break out the red carpet.
Man.
Hey, listen, I my favorite Chimay. So if you want to go ahead and bring out the champagne of beers, Chimay is what I'm saying.
Oh man.
Yeah, screw that Miller High Life. That's Chimay is.
Yep.
She goes, Chimay, what is that? Is that champagne in a box? What is that?
Just
stuff?
about. I like triples and sometimes quads. High APV.
No, I mean, I went to a sports bar that basically had it all to myself. Apparently nobody cared about that game at all. It did fill in a little bit, but not by people trying to watch football. It was the weirdest playoff game sports bar atmosphere possible. It made for a good picture, right? Because there's no one in it. But
there was literally nobody. I even said the comment, "Yo, Bo, I think you could pull sprawl out in there, man. You could have gone there in your bathrobe and been good."
100%. Like I could have been laying on a table. It would not have mattered. Yeah, it was. The service was fantastic, though.
Yeah, when you're the only person and there's 18 people working, it's
100%.
like, hey,
100%.
I get my nails done and get a massage.
Yeah.
But it just seems weird to me. I mean, when you look at the 4 teams left, 2 of the teams, I couldn't believe they're there. Like, it just still blows my mind that they're there. I understand Baker said don't underestimate. They like being the underdog and all this. And
that is where he plays his best football. Let's be honest. When he's the underdog, when they're telling him he's counted out, that's when he plays good football. Soon as he starts feeling himself, that's when they lose games.
Yeah.
As soon as he's like, I'm that guy, it's like, then all of a sudden you're on this losing streak until they're like, oh, you suck, you can't win. And then he's like, okay, I got to start winning again. Like it's a very weird dynamic.
So they didn't do anything special. I mean,
no, they really didn't.
They really didn't. I mean, truth of the matter is that a halfway decent Eagles team would have beaten them. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. But this is way.
They didn't do anything special, but everything they did.
And you know what? I didn't hear. What was Slay's condition?
It was pretty bad. Well, they took him off on a cart. So
I know that. I watched him go out for the cart.
That's what I'm saying.
But they didn't say anything about the injury or anything like that.
No, there's no updates on that.
But you know what they say: if you can't even walk off the field, that's why it's bad. That's you probably won't see him next season. Well, he's what 11 years in, so yeah.
I thought that was the last play I saw him. I turned around to the Eagles fans behind me. I said that might be the last play we ever see of Darius Slay. Yeah.
Well, at least for next season, he may still bring him back the one after that, but
I don't think so. His
but by that time,
then
that's true. Well, maybe get him at a cheaper price.
Yeah, I don't. No, thank you.
Yeah, I got you. I feel you. Yeah. What do you think about Bradbury?
Lower back injury is all it says. All it says is lower back injury. Doesn't there's no updates yet. So he's probably got to go in for MRIs and stuff early in this week.
Got it.
But,
interesting.
I mean, Bradbury had a very tough season. Very tough season.
Yeah.
He like so much different than last year.
Right.
And it's again amazing to me that just how much a difference a year makes. There was so much regression that happened with him. Some that happened with Hurts. Some that happened with Jordan Davis. You know what I mean? That he had a little bit of a regression season. And there was just Mailata had a season that he did not really live up to the potential of last season. So there's been a number of different things that occurred that created, this to be the way it is. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting next couple of weeks.
I just thought it was crazy that to me this just seems such a weird wild card experience this season versus seasons past, because it just seemed like the Cowboys just didn't look like they were interested in this game at all, and and then of course the Eagles were going through what they're going through, and it just
the East easily was the biggest disappointment in the playoffs so far.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, just absolutely fell apart. Both games. Like neither game did the teams get off the airplane. Like they just they just were going through the motions, looked terrible. I mean, the only reason the Dallas one was as close as there was garbage time points. Otherwise, that was a blowout too. It just both those games were like I don't have a horse in those races, and they were tough to watch. You're just like, man, like usually there's one 40 burger, and then the rest of it is good football. Right. Yeah. Usually it's like pretty competitive football. And this time around, the only really competitive game was the Lions-Rams. It was the only game.
You could say the Pittsburgh Buffalo game was close until they scored that last touchdown.
It became. I mean, the 14-point jump at the beginning kind of had them sort of out of reach, because if you look at the box score, they tied the box score the rest of the way through, so it became a good game. But that first quarter was the difference.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that one became an okay game. The Lions-Rams was a good game. The rest of the games really weren't that good.
Yeah. Now it seems like everything's lining up for San Francisco, Detroit, which, I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I would love to see that game, honestly.
Well,
I don't know. You're going to have a Tampa Texans.
Oh, jeez, man. Hey.
Just all underdog action.
Well, I'll tell you, hey, the Tampa and the Texans are the two teams I thought that really fought the hardest. That really showed they wanted the most.
They wanted it. There's no doubt.
Well,
I mean, the Lions fought. The Lions fought. They wanted that. But yeah, I mean, those are. I'm with you. Those teams, they came out wanting to win. Like especially against who they both respectively played.
Right.
Tampa doesn't have enough to be able to get past Detroit.
Oh, I agree.
I think.
I don't think Houston gets there either, but.
I'm interested to see if Green Bay can give the same type of performance that they did in the Dallas game against San Francisco.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yep.
So, tough to say. You know what I mean? It's like it's going to be interesting all the way around. Yeah. Very, very frustrated. Very frustrated. I was frustrated yesterday, but I mean, it's so much different now. It's so like after thinking about it, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me? I mean, it was just way over the top. Like, how is it that you make that occur? How does that happen? And then, like I said, once I heard the rumor, I was like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it had to be something, because there's no way you can come into this game this deflated. I mean, because it's not like it was one unit playing bad. Like it was the entire team. Every phase of the game was ugly.
Yeah, and when I started to hear stuff like, "Hey, the Eagles were very energized when they saw that Dallas was out," they weren't that energized.
Yeah, clearly.
They did not show that much energy. So it's like I feel like they were all putting on a face for each other. And even when I heard that they went up to New York to try to do a bonding session with the team.
Well, and how bad is the team that you need to do that mid-season?
Or end the season.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like during the season, like why would that be a thing? Like if you're doing something like that in the preseason or something like that, absolutely, right? OTAs, sure. During the season should not be necessary. Like you guys should be on the same page at this point. Certainly towards the end of the season, shouldn't need to do team building that far in. You should pretty much have your nucleus solidified at that point.
I agree, and the team should like each other. I feel like half this team doesn't like the other half. And that's.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to.
No, you don't have to.
You do have to be able to work together.
Right. And have a mutual respect is kind of what I look at that as.
Sure.
And it's not going to, that wasn't there. That was not there. They did not have each other's back. They did not show as a team. And ultimately, I know the 49ers fans love to think that it was them that did it. We said, we showed everybody that the Eagles are. No, it's not the case. The Eagles beat themselves. And that's what I said at the very beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. The only way the Eagles lose is if they beat themselves.
And like we've talked about many times, like they didn't play a particularly great brand of football all year anyway. I mean, there were plenty of times where they just, even in wins, you're just like, and they left a lot out there. And, and obviously, again, that I don't have a horse in that race. It's not my favorite team, but it's, but still just watching it from a football perspective, you're like, man, if they ever play their best brand, they're going to be a scary team.
And it never came.
It
And
didn't.
never showed.
It didn't. It continued to fade. That was the craziest part because the roster doesn't suggest that, or didn't.
Oh, and listen, it's you could say that it starts at the very top. That hey, Nick Sirianni couldn't do it. Ultimately that he was given a most of a Super Bowl roster
Mhm.
from last year, and they were working off of that high. And I will also say, like, if I'm going to give some blame to the fans and the players feeding off of the energy, I think the fans got tired. The fans were after you think about like how where that San Francisco game came in at,
Yeah.
um, and that was at the end of November, beginning of December that game happened, and
Mhm.
ultimately, the fans went through the Phillies playoffs. And the energy level for the playoffs started out really strong. But for baseball, it's hard to maintain that throughout the entire playoffs. And by
Sure.
the end, the fans were exhausted and the energy level wasn't there, and the players felt that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and I actually blame the fans a little bit for uh, shooting our load too quickly.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like we had major energy for the first two series, which is
Yeah.
great. But we got to the third series, we were starting to get tired.
Well, I mean,
Because it's a
that
lot.
happens. That happens in games too. It's one of the things I worry about with Detroit going into next week. Right? Is coming off of that emotional high. You finally did something you hadn't done in 30 years. It's tough to carry that into the next week. The only thing that's you know a saving grace to them is they're going to go up against Tampa. Tampa's a beatable team. Like I thought I thought Detroit would have had a harder time if it was going to be, against the Cowboys or the Eagles, something like that, right? But against Tampa, I think they can keep their run going. But I mean, when you look at any team throughout history, when they have that emotional high, it's really hard to
Yeah, I
match
would
that.
say that about anybody else. Yeah, I think Detroit is so hungry that I don't think that's going to rest.
Well, I
And
mean, they do have a favorable matchup too.
not only that, but the
Well,
fan
that's true.
base themselves are energized. So if you're going to feed off of a fan base, that's the type of fan base you want to feed off of. They
Absolutely.
are they are championship starved
Yep.
across the board.
Yep.
So it's like that's kind of what it is that I
You just
think is
stole
going to
your
happen
truck.
to them.
Looked like he dropped his phone or something, but the way it went down, it looked like he flipped his truck over.
Yeah.
Oh
Anyways.
no! I think I was underneath that awning and I couldn't. It messed up my signal.
I got you.
So I just it really is
no,
frustrating.
this
It's just
Detroit
way
team.
too frustrating.
Yeah.
Okay. You there, Jay?
Yeah, you're breaking up, man.
This Detroit team. I think this fan base. They're so hyped up. Like they really. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And that's what I feel like. And that's what I feel like happened with the
I just
Eagles
think this
fan base
Detroit
too.
fan base.
I feel they got tired too. We got tired. It
Yeah.
was just it's been a long season for us because of the way baseball season went into football season. They were feeding
Sure.
off of each other.
Sure.
And then come that 49ers game, we had that big and we just
Yep.
never caught the momentum again as a fan base to be able to cheer loud. And if you're a team that requires the energy from a fan base, our fan base wasn't able to give it to them. Not that they gave us much reason to give it to them. So I'm not taking full responsibility of that. But it's just it was tiring. We've been exhausted, and I feel it. And I'm sure that the players feel it. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot for being a Philadelphia sports fan.
Sure.
It is a tremendous amount. And so there is a little bit of blame that goes on our side there. Of course, we're not playing on the field. So
Of course.
whether we're there or whether we're not there, it shouldn't matter. That the play on the field should be what it is. That's what heart's all about.
Yeah.
Because God knows you didn't have it. The Eagles didn't have it. So maybe they could take a lesson from Detroit. I know the Cowboys did take a lesson. I hope we take a lesson too. It ain't just the Eagles. Trust me. I promise you.
I think both those organizations going to have a lot of changes coming. I mean, obviously mine already has a lot of changes in the works. So, I think all three of our teams are going to be very, very different next year.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, the Eagles, the Cowboys, we know we're going to be better. The Seahawks, come on, let's not come on. That's a little much. That's a little much.
What are these Cowboys going to do? Leave in the first round? Okay. I'm sure we can get you another coach that can clap. I know you guys like applause.
We do. We honestly do like an applause. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. That's why there's a big star right there.
That's
And
right.
Paul, I reading your comment there. Listen, I am going to put my all into it all, into everything. I can only be a fan the one way that I know how. I don't know how. I don't know another way. And I'll be honest. The reason why you see me in face paint all the time is because if I wasn't wearing the face paint, I'd be an asshole to watch the game with.
Yeah.
The face paint actually makes me more tolerable. It sounds ridiculous, but that's the absolute truth. I'll tell a small little story that has nothing to do with anything here. I used to play softball on Sundays. And we would go to the bar afterwards. And the bar that I played for, there was a TV that was over in the corner. And I would stand there by myself and watch the TV like this. Because the Eagles weren't great. It was probably, Peterson's first season and stuff like that. And I would yell at the television. And because if I would see something, if I'm seeing something, that means the defense is seeing it. And that means, that's not going to work. The play is not going to work. So, and I would yell at the television all the time. People started to go to that bar, not just to watch the Eagles game, but to watch me watch the Eagles game because I was, like I said, I'd be by myself. I'd be yelling at the television, but we're such a sports city that they would call up on sports talk radio talking about the things I was yelling at. And it wasn't like, hey, you call up right after the game. This was stuff that you would talk about on Tuesday. Yeah. Because once you got past the fact that we lost and that there was a lot of things that stunk, the things that I'm yelling at are like second level stuff. So people would come in to literally watch me watch the game. I'd yell and then you hear people say, what he said. You know what I mean? Because I'm sitting there and they're seeing what it is that I'm talking about.
Yep.
So I only know one way to be a fan. So to your point, Paul, I wish that there was a way that I could quell my fandom. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how, and I can't. And I won't, actually. It's not worth it for me to be a fan. If I was to quell my fandom, it's like me rooting for Detroit to beat Tampa or whatever, because that's what that is. I will mildly root for another fan base. Actually, that's what I root for. I don't root for the teams. I root for the fan bases. I want the fan base to win because I feel like they deserve it. But I won't root for my team that way. Because I give it my all. I give it, like I said, I bring it every play of every game. And that's the only way I know how.
Honestly, the one fan base I feel so sorry for is the Cleveland Browns. I really feel bad for that fan base. They've wanted a championship for so long, man, and they just can never get it.
They got a couple. They just had to put a bird on the helmet.
Well, that's true. That's true. God, I remember when Mark Modell moved that team. Everybody was so pissed. I mean, that's how Houston felt when Bud Adams up and yanked it out and put it to Tennessee. The only more respect I got for Art Modell versus Bud Adams is at least Art Modell let the city of Cleveland, have the Browns name. Bud Adams
Sure.
just said, nope, you ain't even getting the Oilers. I know there's no reason to take the
Right.
Oilers to Tennessee. You're the Oilers. Houston is an Oiler town. It's an Oiler town.
How messed up was it that they wore their throwbacks against the Texans? Like that was next level middle finger action right there.
Oh, it was. And if to make matters worse, the University of Houston said, you know what, we're gonna adopt the Oilers colors for a couple of games just to kind of give us the love back. And then the NFL came down and said, nope, Bud Adams has that shit too.
Yep. Color scheme, logos, everything. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a slap in the face to the people of Houston that have been with them since the 60s when they were formed.
You know, the thing that's funny is it's not like that is uncommon, really. So when they took the Sonics, right, and now they're the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? The Sonics won a championship.
Right.
Well, they changed the record book so it says Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, that's messed up.
Right? Hilarious.
I mean, that's messed up because you're changing history. That's not. It wasn't
Exactly.
the Thunder.
Exactly.
So like when everybody that remembers the Sonics are gone, and all you see in the record books is Thunder. I mean,
yep. They won a championship before they became a team. It's amazing.
I think that's part of the Mandela effect. Seattle never really had a team.
Yeah, right. You're just confused. Basketball never existed in Seattle.
Yeah, I keep hearing about this dang Mandela effect. I mean, my wife was telling me, there's a Mandela effect out there. They said Richard Simmons never wore a headband. I said, no, that's bullshit. I know exactly who wore a headband because my mom sweat to the oldies, and I remember that crap.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I will. I'm sure I will be, back around tomorrow. But like I'll be back to normal. But I'm a little hot today. I am a little hot today. It's just it's been.
You should be because they put out trash. Like there was no effort in that game. So as a fan, you should be mad at that.
I just want to say this is the version of Pags that I love the most. I really do. I love this Pags. I would like to see this Pags 24/7. You just look so
angry?
Beautiful. No, it's beautiful.
Right? That's the thanks, friend. Like,
hey, I can't tell you. I can't tell you enough that I was sitting on the couch watching this game with the wife, and she's over there. She can't believe I'm watching the Eagles. I said, no, you don't understand. This game is paramount right now because when this shit's over, I'm. And then I said, and I told my wife, I said, Jay, you never look so calm after the game. I said, because now I don't get hear nothing from Pags. It's gonna be a nice, quiet show.
It wasn't quiet. There was nothing quiet about this show.
Oh no,
and that's the way it is.
No, not quiet in that sense. I'm just saying quiet that you ain't ragging on my team because your team went through the same crap. So it was going to be an easygoing show today. It wasn't going to be as much crowding.
Yeah, but it was like I told you. It was like I told you after, before the show started yesterday. I says that I wasn't going to go real hard on you because we still had to play our game, and I knew like that that this had a potential of occurring. I did not have. Like I thought that they would come out and they would flip the script and that some of the things that they were doing was a farce. That wasn't until I heard the rumor. Once I heard the rumor, I was like, just like I said, way too many holes got filled. Way too many holes. And
that might have been part of the problem.
I didn't even Exactly. On that note, we've reached the top of the hour.
That gives new versions for the word tag team. Tag team back again.
So good. Oh man.
Oh well.
But you're not wrong. We are there. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. Obviously, stay in for the next hour here on Roku. And of course, if you're watching on our respective YouTube channels, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our content to you. And of course, there we are.
How was the first hour? I missed the first hour, obviously, because I was trying to get back here for the second hour. So
No, it was good. It was good. So I had Coach Bono on here, and great guy. His special teams coach. Been coaching for 35 years. Coached for I think 8 different teams through the league. Won a ring with the Rams this last time through. So great guy. He'll be back on. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, then, thank you for coming on the show today and filling in for me while I was trying to get back from the airport.
While you're crying on an airplane,
I don't cry. I don't cry. They don't pay me enough to care about these losses as much as I should.
I just wish I could have been the Uber driver that drove Pags. That had to have been a hell of a good ride. I was green and silver paint, crying in the fetal position in the back of my car for.
Just leaving a silver puddle. I got you.
Not happening. Not happening.
Other than that, we will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy, guys.
Have a good one.
I salute.